Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Retro Warriors episode 567.
Woo!
As always, I'm your host, Justin Baker, and as always, I'm joined by viable human Chris Satter.
Hi, Justin.
What is the pause? What's the pause?
Oh, you paused. I didn't hear. You cut out for a second, and then when it finally caught up, it just resumed mid-word, and so I didn't know when you were done talking until it caught up to me. So
I maintain that you just wanted to make me uncomfortable.
No, it was your internet connection making you uncomfortable.
Look, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. My little antenna on my roof is going as fast as it can. I swear.
Yeah.
I swear that it is.
I don't believe you.
We don't really have any housekeeping. Because yeah. So we're just gonna get into it.
Okay.
My week.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing some video games.
Yeah.
I've been simultaneously playing World of Warcraft, EverQuest, Final Fantasy XI, Ultima, and RuneScape.
Ultima Online, I assume.
Yes, Ultima Online.
You
That's a normal amount of MMOs. I'm pretty sure
totally,
to play to begin with.
Totally normal.
But we had talked about before. We'd set up like a WoW server for us to play on. Well, I think realistically for me to play on, nobody else seems to be doing it. But either way, we'd set it up, and you were running it for me. And then I had set up EverQuest and Final Fantasy XI on my computer, I set up a Proxmox box.
Yeah.
After seeing yours, because that's what the World of Warcraft server is running on. And I was like, this is really cool. So I took some old parts and put together an additional machine that I just had enough spare parts for.
That's something.
And now I'm running a Proxmox system that is exclusively for old
Hosting old
MMO
MMOs.
hosting. Yes. Because in my head, I'm like, one day they're going to be gone, and I'm going to want them. Want them, you know.
Yeah.
So part preservation, part kind of Linux project,
and also part
project.
your little antenna on your roof can't really play MMOs anyway. So.
This is true. It is really cool for when my internet goes out and I can still play an MMO.
Yeah.
But I'm running all 5 of these. I also have set up in it. I set up something else. Oh, I was also setting up some MUDs. Some multi-user dungeons. Don't I hear I hear the judgment in your voice.
Oh yeah, I'm not trying to hide it.
But yeah, I've been playing around with them and getting all the clients configured, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool having your own little server. Oddly enough, RuneScape has kind of been sort of the best fit for this. Because like our World of Warcraft server we run, it has a whole bunch of bots in it, like player bots, and you can invite them to your party, and they act, theoretically similar to regular players.
Yeah.
But stuff like EverQuest doesn't have that. Final Fantasy XI doesn't have that. Ultima doesn't. RuneScape does have player bots, but also RuneScape is already kind of sorta a single player game anyway.
Yeah.
Like there are multiplayer games, but most of the game is like doing quests and raising your skills, which you do by yourself anyway. So now I just kind of get to play the same RuneScape I was already playing with old school RuneScape, but for not $20 a month, which is an absurd amount of money for an old ass Java MMO.
Yeah.
And so it's been really good. I'm like, this is actually really nice. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. If anything, it feels like an improvement.
Nice.
It's been a good time just learning how to host all those and messing around with them. And
Proxmox is so nice.
It's cool, man. It's because I've been doing Docker and stuff. But it's just it's a nice interface and like I run a Docker interface for all my containers and stuff. But it's a little messy, Yeah. It's
just
probably
having a proper hypervisor is so nice. Because I've been using them at work for years now, mostly using vSphere. But having one at home to make as many containers and VMs as I want without having to pay some company monthly per core, is so nice.
Well, the issue too was when I was wanting to run, I don't remember which server it was, but most of them have like Docker containers and stuff. Like our World of Warcraft server is mostly Docker running inside of your Proxmox.
Right. Yeah.
But one of them was like, no, this can't run in a container. It's got to run bare metal. And I don't even remember why, but I was like, well, shit. I don't really have a way to do bare metal. And so then I was like, I think I have enough parts for a whole entire other machine. which is it's a i5 with 16 gigs of RAM and a terabyte SSD that I just had floating around.
So for the bare metal one, did you try just setting it up in an LXC or a VM in Proxmox?
Oh yeah, no, I did it. And it worked great.
Nice.
That's exactly what I did. And so it's going good. I don't even remember which one it was.
Yeah.
But man, it's been really cool. Just kind of getting to have my own little MMOs, and I can cheat and boost levels. All of them I have like experience boosts on and stuff, and it's very nice. Especially a game like RuneScape, that's like the whole point is that it takes years and years to build up the skills, and I'm like, not at 10 times experience, it doesn't. This is great.
Yeah, I might have to copy your notes and make a FF11 on my server.
Oddly enough, FF11 out of all of them, the server was, I'm not going to say easy, but one of the easier ones to set up. The fucking client is the pain in the ass.
Oh, did you try setting up Play Online first?
Well, you do have to have an actual FF11 install that at some point was subscribed and was able to download the whole game while it was subscribed.
Okay.
So if you still have it installed from when we played a while back, keep that installed because you got to have that. Yeah. But then eventually you use a series of launchers that bypass Play Online, which is very nice.
Nice.
But it was and also it's all Windows based, so I was having to do it all on Linux. So the client was the pain in the ass, but the server was not very hard at all.
Nice.
And it takes very little resources, kind of surprisingly.
Does it still support the PS2 or Xbox versions, or is it just PC?
Oh, I have no idea. No idea. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I mean, in theory, yes, because you could make them connect. I'm sure somehow you put a Pi between your router and your PS2 and, make it think it's dialing in or whatever. But I'm not sure. I was also going to set up PSO Blueburst.
Nice.
Because there's a fan server for that. And I was like, that seems fun.
There's a lot of fan servers for that.
Oh, yeah. There's a bunch. And so I was thinking about doing a PSO server, which I believe does still support like all the various versions of it.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be kind of a cool thing to either run or make you run.
Yeah, I have played with private servers for PSO several times. They work pretty well.
Yeah, that would be cool. Anyway, also finally booted up and played some Doom: The Dark Ages. I had played it on like PlayStation Trial or whatever forever ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is cool, but I just had other shit going on. And now I'm like 5 or 6 chapters into it, and I'd picked it up on sale, and it's really good.
Yeah.
I was kind of in my head like, where do you even go after Eternal? Because it was so like if you get any more frantic than that, I'm gonna need to like take drugs to be able to play it or something. I don't, but they went a different route where it's kind of this like weird momentum based gameplay. Whereas Doom Eternal felt really super frantic and crazy. This one's kind of like it's slower, heavier movement and combat, if that makes sense. Like everything's very like momentum and freight trainy feeling, and it's really cool. And I'm having a good time with it. It really, honestly, because of the visual aesthetic of it, I feel like they wanted to make like a new Heretic, and they're like, no one's gonna fucking buy that. We got to we got to put Doom Guy in it and call it Doom: The Dark Ages.
I was not interested in it because it was Doom, but if you're telling me it's vaguely Heretic flavored, I might try it.
It is a little bit. It is. I mean, it starts off. It's like here's your shotgun, here's your stuff, but then it's also like you get a shield and you're doing melee attacks, and then eventually you start getting weirder and weirder guns. Like one shoots stakes. One of them is it literally just feeds skulls into the top and shoots the shrapnel from the skulls like a big wide blast thingy.
Which one's the weird one?
So it does seem to be getting a little wackier as it goes along, which I'm enjoying. But yeah, it feels vaguely Heretic Hexen-y to me.
That's neat.
Just because of the medieval aesthetic. It also still has space and technology stuff, but they're just kind of mixing the two together.
Right.
But it's been good. I also, on my long list, really this is what I did, is I've been saying for the longest time, I don't want to take Cold Steel 2 out of my PS5 because I won't put it back in.
Yeah.
And after all this time saying that and kind of feeling like it's, it kind of feels like an obligation. I have all these games on my shelf that I want to play on my PS5, and I'm like, I don't want to take Cold Steel 2 out. I'm just going to leave it in there. And I know it's kind of weird, but I just had this feeling. And I was sitting there the other night complaining to Courtney about it, like, I kind of want to take it out, but play something else, but I'm worried I'll forget about it or whatever. I won't come back to it. And I was like, wait a minute. That's a PS4 game.
Yep.
I can just go put it in my PS4 and leave it in there for forever and play it in the bedroom before I go to bed every night.
Yeah.
And I felt real stupid then.
But only if you have PS Plus to transfer your save file.
I do indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, I do indeed. So it transferred over just fine.
I do not have PS Plus. I do not have that option.
Yeah, freed up my PS5, and so I finally started putting some time into Elden Ring. I'm probably dozen hours in, maybe a little more. And it's it's real good. That's real good. It's been a real good time. I played it a while back. I pirated a copy, and had played it with some like easy mode mods just to get a feel for it. Like I just wanted to play it before I like committed to purchasing it.
Sure.
And I played it and I was like, I kind of don't like it. But playing it this time around a little slower and kind of actually learning the new mechanics that make it different from like actual Dark Souls.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Still a little annoying in some parts, but there are enough ways to kind of glitch certain farming locations to get high enough level that it doesn't really matter.
Nice.
So it sort of has like a de facto built-in easy mode that I'm sure the devs have to be aware of, because I was looking online like best way to like farm runes, which is the currency in the game, and they've had the same ways to do it for years now.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they just kind of left it in as like, hey, here's kind of an easy mode release valve for people like me who cannot complete games because I am bad at them.
Me too.
Anyway, what you been playing, Saturn?
Nothing.
Oh no!
I've just been working so freaking much. It's been distressing because anytime that I am off work, I have so many things to catch up on that are
normal life things.
Yeah, normal things that I've just been doing that. There's a lot of transitions going on at my office right now, so it's
hopefully good transitions. That means soon you won't have to be working so hard. Or
I don't know.
That's not good.
So they were finally talking about bringing on somebody to replace the person that I keep having to cover for, but now 2 other people decided they're going to quit. So
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
great.
know. I don't know
Love
exactly
that
what's
for
going to
you.
happen. Yeah. So yeah, it's just whatever I can play in 5 minutes while also listening to people argue with each other on an SRT at work has been my life, which is not a lot. Yeah, I did replay Animal Well at the office.
Oh, there you go.
While more or less ignoring someone.
Look, you've been working enough. You deserve to ignore someone.
Yeah.
Just,
but I have a new coworker who is also into games, and so I've been able to chat with him about stuff. He is more into first person stuff. He's been playing a bunch of Counter-Strike and trying to upgrade his computer to play CS2. But so we don't have like a ton of overlap as far as genre preference or anything, but we enjoy the industry itself and the technology and everything. So we've been able to chat about that. So that's been nice.
Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah.
Fun. It's nice to have someone to kind of connect with a little bit.
Right. He is like 20 years younger than me though, so
Oh my God.
there's been a lot of like
Just
culture
a little
shock.
baby.
Yeah, I'll be talking about something he had said that his first game that he ever played was Halo, and I thought he meant like when he was in middle school or whatever, and he was like, yeah, I was just barely old enough to hold the mouse while my friend was moving the keyboard. I was like, oh no, right?
Holy shit.
That game is 25 years old almost.
Yep. Yeah. It's weird. We talk. People talk in our Matrix server all the time about like what is retro and what is this and what is that. And there seem to be 2 camps. There's, I think, camps of like where we are, where we're like, I mean, if it's more than like 10, 15 years old, like we don't feel great about it, but it is de facto retro.
Yeah.
And then I noticed some other people are like, no, it's this year and before, and no matter how many years have happened since then, it does not change.
And there's also the camp that it's anything that feels like
Right,
old
it's
school,
an
like
aesthetic.
if it's pixel art or if it's 2D platforming or whatever, that's retro, even if it came out last year.
Yeah.
But Halo is not.
I see. I'm just thinking about like 25-year-old games when Halo came out. Like
Exactly. You mean like Pong?
Yeah, I mean like Pong. Anyway,
because 25 years before Halo, we didn't even have Space Invaders yet.
Yeah, I guess not. I guess we would not have. My God.
We had Pong. We had Breakout.
Quarter of a century, we went straight from Pong to Halo.
To now. That's the 25-year jumps.
Let's do the news.
Okay.
Before I feel too old and just shrivel away into dust. Retro Games' the A1200 Amiga replica has been delayed. Quote, the OS isn't yet where it needs to be, which, you know.
I'm okay with them doing that rather than releasing it in shitty condition.
Right. That's true. I do like the idea that they seem to actually be building a decent OS for it, because I just assume that all of these things are just Android on the back end with some kind of custom front end on them.
Well, because Amiga was an OS,
right?
Just throwing a custom front end on it would not work for using Amiga software. So
I just assumed they would come up with some kind of emulator that runs an Android, slap an Amiga front end on it, and be like, "Here it is. This is the thing."
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't just load an Android emulator on there. To be honest, or an Amiga OS emulator on there.
Yeah,
just running the OS through that.
Kudos to them for theoretically doing it right.
Right.
So, something there. Nintendo Switch 2 is seeing a price increase worldwide. Nintendo Japan is also raising prices on the original Switch. Again, need I remind anyone?
Yep.
Switch Online services and Hanafuda cards. There's got to be one person out there that's like, yeah, I don't give a shit about their video game stuff. They make the best Hanafuda cards.
They've been making them for 130 years now.
There's got to be some people out there that they're like, yeah, no, Nintendo's great. I don't really do the video game side of the company. I'm really into the Hanafuda cards. It's kind of my thing. And that brings me great joy to think about. It's funny. I was on the phone with my brother the other day, and like he'll call me and we'll just kind of complain about Nintendo to each other for an hour, and then that's it.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're going to raise the price of the Switch 2. And he's like, you think? And I was like, it is going to happen before this holiday season. There's no way it doesn't. And the next day, they raised the price. And I was like, I knew it! I'm kind of shocked they waited this long, to be honest. And I think the only reason they did is because they raised the price of the original Switch previously, so they didn't have to raise the Switch 2 yet.
Right. At least the original Switch only raised in price in Japan this time.
Yeah.
So I did want to... I wanted to mention before we move on that I looked this up, and Amiga OS 4, which is the latest version of Amiga OS, got an update on the 18th of October 2025.
Oh my God. From who? Who's updating it?
Hyperion is the company who currently owns the rights to it, and they pushed an update. It was the first update in nearly 5 years, and it updated some of its networking and its USB components, as well as support for 4K monitors.
I'm going to have to run Amiga OS on something. Now I'm too interested. That's wild. That's wild. That's like hearing that the Master System is still on sale in Brazil, and you're like, it is?
Right.
Anyway, someone brought up in the chat, they're like, I understand raising prices, shit is crazy, but $50 a unit feels very high, especially with the amount of sales that they're saying they're getting.
Right, and I get that they need to pay their employees more because their employees are also dealing with cost of living increases for everything. I get it, but it was already kind of overpriced.
Yeah. So I'm frustrated with it. I'm overall just slightly. This is kind of my state with the Switch 2. Is like I play it a lot. I really do. I'm just slightly frustrated with it the whole time.
Yeah.
Physically, what Nintendo's doing, it's just everything. It's just kind of slightly frustrating.
Yeah.
Takashi Tezuka, aka Tintin, is retiring from Nintendo after 40 plus years.
That is a ton of years. And
perfect timing for some cool internet guys to do a podcast about him, because now he can't tank his career.
Oh, good point. Well, he
after
could.
We've done the show. No, it wouldn't count. Wouldn't count.
Okay.
A month later, it'd be like, I'm announcing my new mobile gacha game.
Yeah. And also, I'm going to prison with Yuji Naka.
We're going to be cellmates. Holy shit, I forgot about all of that. Entirely forgot. Lenovo G02 retro gaming handheld popped up on AliExpress with no announcement.
Yeah.
After several weeks, Lenovo finally confirmed that the G02 is an official Lenovo product, but but is not licensed or marketed for sale outside of China. I'm fascinated by this.
I wonder if maybe it's not licensed for sale outside of China because it comes preloaded with hundreds of NES ROMs.
Just, first of all, the idea that a major manufacturer is getting in on this is exciting to me because they have resources and the ability to source, screens and other internals that these smaller companies just cannot. Like I think the Miiu Mini and the Mini, either the Mini and the Mini Plus, or just one of them use like old BlackBerry screen stock. And like a company like Lenovo, they can get the good shit to put into their
You say that, but did you look at it?
I did look at it. Now, visually, it doesn't look incredible.
It's an R36S clone.
Yes,
So,
but maybe it's got good internals.
Maybe, and it might. I'll find out because I ordered one because I'm weak.
I'm
but
real interested to see.
Yeah. So when it shows up, I will let you know if it's any good. Because I just wanted to have the Lenovo branded handheld because that sounded too stupid to me.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I do like the precedent that this sets for other big companies to be making little emulation handhelds like this.
I like that the stock photos of it show the screen running like, I don't know, it looks like Armored Core 6 or something.
Yeah, they've always got some ridiculous game on it.
Right.
Like, runs up to NES, and you're like, what the fuck are you doing there? What's happening? 85% of all PlayStation software sales last quarter were digital, quote-unquote, purchases. That does not bode well.
No.
Granted, there has been some question about how Sony gets their software sales numbers in the past.
True.
And I don't remember what it was, but they've been kind of, it's kind of like, I'm not meaning to imply they're like lying about it, but they report them in a way that when you say 85% of software sales, it doesn't quite exactly mean what you might think in your head.
So the thing that I am curious about that they never seem to separate here is what is the percentage of digital of titles that also have physical releases? Because they always just lump it in with everything, whereas a lot of those games are only available digital, so that doesn't really feel like a comparison.
Yeah. And then there's questions of like, are code in a box games digital because you redeem a code? So like that would be included as digital, even though someone went out and bought it at a store. And I think there's a lot, kind of what I'm getting at. There's a lot of factors here as to like, what does digital software sales mean? And what are you and aren't you counting? Yeah. But either way, that's a shitload. No matter how you slice it or how you tweak the numbers or how you report on it, that's just a lot. And I don't think it's shocking to anyone.
No.
Really, the reason I've stuck with PS5 this generation is because it gets physical games.
More than the other, more than Xbox. Nintendo
more than
gets
Xbox,
a lot of
for sure. Switch still gets a lot of shit, but also I don't want to buy a game that's going to run like garbage.
Yeah, that's why.
When I can use, but also PS5 versions of games usually stay in stock. Switch ones will sell out,
and so usually the PS5 version is cheaper too.
Yeah, very often.
Especially if you're getting it used from GameFly or somebody.
Yup. So yeah, just another nail in a very big coffin, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
We all see the writing on the wall. We know it's coming one day. I'm hoping we get a few more years of physical games.
Seriously.
GameCube version of Twilight Princess has been completely decompiled, which is very exciting.
And recompiled.
Recompiled. Yeah, is it? I believe it's playable now. Like
yes,
you can just download.
It's now playable.
Yeah. So this is exciting. I hope this kind of gets the same level of support that like of what's the Ocarina one, Ship of Hyrcanian or whatever.
That's the one.
Theirs is awesome. That's an awesome client. It's really cool. eBay has rejected GameStop's $55.5 billion takeover offer.
What?
Now the question is, where would they have gotten $55.5 billion? And the answer is nobody knows. Nobody really knows.
It would have been a leverage purchase. You know it would have.
It's
they would have made eBay take out the loan to pay for it themselves, and then 5 years later would have tried to sell eBay along with that debt. That's what would have happened.
I think the numbers stacked up to be like either a $12 or $16 billion loan is what it would have needed to be.
Yeah,
which is pretty chunky loan.
Yeah,
eBay would have had to put their house up, I think.
Well, they could put it on eBay.
Yeah, there you go. Sega canceled the Super Game after 5 years of development. Says their free-to-play titles are underperforming. I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
Not because I thought it was going to actually be a super game, but the idea of a company being like, we're making a super game. like like one of the super bands of the 80s coming back in video game form. I was very excited for this.
I was mostly just excited for it because I wanted them to finally show it off, just so that we could mock how it was ever considered a super game.
How it was just a regular ass game.
Right?
Yeah. Metroid Dread developer Mercury Steam has announced layoffs, which sucks. That sucks for them, man.
And I feel worse for these smaller companies because they do have narrower margins to pay their employees, and it sucks that they're having to do this, but it's just unfortunately where the market is right now.
Google bought a stake in the developer of EVE Online and announced they will use player data and behavior to train their AI models.
Gross.
I'm not one of those. I don't believe that we're moments away from Skynet happening because I've used LLMs and I know how smart they are. And the answer is not. They're not smart.
Yeah.
They're really good at handling large amounts of data. But you know what? That's kind of what computers were built to do in the first place.
Right.
My point is this. If there was anything that was going to create Skynet,
it'd be training an AI off of EVE Online players.
I think connecting Google's AI data center to EVE Online would do it. If it was going to happen, that's when it would be like, oh my God, like that's when it would happen.
I hope that the instance of Gemini that's being trained off of EVE Online is the same instance of Gemini that's being shoehorned into Dragon Quest X, just so that Slimy, the Gemini slime, will start spouting out EVE Online slurs at players.
Talking about mining moon rocks.
Right.
Where were we? The new Steam controller screams at you if you drop it. It's the Wilhelm scream. It's cute. It's funny.
Right.
I love stuff like this. I love when engineers get to just put in goofy stuff because it cost them money to do that.
Right.
It wasn't free. It was a non-zero amount. Probably didn't cost them much, but someone had to sit down and design it and make it work.
And also license that scream.
Is the Wilhelm scream not public domain?
Oh, it's got to be part of a license package.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I've got my reservation in to pre-order one or whatever, but I haven't gotten mine yet. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna try that. And then I read the article about it, and the person was like, you have to drop it harder than you really feel comfortable doing. They're like, if you drop it on a pillow, it won't do it. But if it's a real drop and it hits a hard surface, it will scream. And I like that they put in that level of no, you got to really hurt this thing for it to scream.
Nice.
Falcom reported a 1,227 year-over-year profit growth.
1,227%.
Percent, pardon me. Largely due to overseas sales, which, great, good for them. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Very
glad. That is a massive spike in sales.
My hope is that it means
100% more than last year.
Yeah. My hope is that it means they keep continuing and dumping more money and effort and time into these remake series that they're kind of working on, and I think that'd be good.
They did seem to imply that the simultaneous worldwide release of the Sky1 remake contributed to
helped. Yeah, for sure.
Probably because in the past there were a lot of really obsessive fans of the Trail series that would import the Japanese version as soon as it came out, and then use a Google Translate AI layer over their screen to play the games. And so now the Japanese release lost out on all those sales because they could just buy it in English in the first place.
Yeah. Either way, good for them. I do kind of worry about companies like Falcom that have these long-running series that seem to still be just grinding it out, just making games, you know, in the way that they want to make them, and so it's good to see.
Right.
And finally, in Saturn news, multiple games added to the Virtual Boy selection on Switch. Although I do have to eat a little bit of crow here. I was like, they're never going to put Jack Brothers on there, and it's the best game on the Virtual Boy. And first up, Jack Brothers.
Yep.
So at least they got the one good game on there.
Yep.
Good on them for that.
Megami Tensei spinoff there.
Space Invaders Virtual Collection, V-Tetris Vertical Force Virtual Bowling, and Virtual Fishing in Japan only.
Yeah.
So
Jack Brothers, and also some chaff.
Some chaff, yeah. But if you're gonna put Virtual Boy on there, at least they've got the best stuff. Yep. So have you taken out your Virtual Boy headset to play Jack Brothers Saturn?
No,
you haven't done.
I've not done that.
It's
back in its box. It just lives there now.
Which brings us to our topic at hand.
Does it?
It does. It does.
I guess Megami Tensei kind of does, yeah.
Kind of does. Which is monster collecting games. Yeah. Synopsis, Saturn's nap time starts now.
I'm going to try to stay awake.
Look, I sat through Silent Hill.
Yeah, I slept more today than I have in 2 weeks. This is the first time in 2 weeks that I did not have an alarm wake me up. It was very exciting.
Yeah. So this is kind of a weird topic. I had just been kind of playing a lot of monster collecting games, and I found myself trying to scratch a very particular kind of itch, and being a little bit annoyed that games that claimed to be like Pokemon didn't scratch that itch in the way that I wanted them to.
Yeah, they claim to be like Pokemon, and then you play it, and it's actually like Digimon, and you just feel sick.
Which is bullshit. So I have to go over some scope and explanation because there's a lot here. Over the years, there have been a ton of franchises seeking to dethrone Pokemon as the monster collecting game du jour.
Right.
So far, none have succeeded. Yeah. But there have been lots of really cool attempts, and some of them became their own, secondary and tertiary franchises that exist under this monster collecting umbrella that are still going.
Yeah.
Also, as Pokemon kind of continues to stagnate and release bad mainline games, there are probably lots of people like me who are seeking a viable alternative. So I am going to spend some time hitting the high notes in the Pokemon franchise and then move on to alternatives of like, hey, this is kind of the cream of the crop for Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we get, I want to say a weird amount of people being like, where do I start with Pokemon? Because that's a weird question to me, because Pokemon it's just been a staple in my life and everyone my age's life for so long that the idea that someone doesn't even know where to begin is odd to me. It's like being like, oh, where tell me about these Marvel movies. Like even the people that don't like them know about them.
Right.
But we do get a surprising amount of people that are like, yeah, I never really did a Pokemon. I'm kind of interested in trying, but like it's really confusing. Where do I start? What's good? So I do want to spend a chunk of time talking about Pokemon and where to start, what to play, that kind of thing. And this is just for simplicity. For the duration of this show, all monsters will be called monsters. I don't want to be switching between Pokemon words and Pal World and Digimon and this and that and this and that nomenclature the entire time. Same thing with like monster fusion as an idea or evolving monsters. It's all going to be called fusing and evolving. They're all going to be called monsters. It's catching monsters. I'm not going to be like, well, this is whatever.
I'm going to call you out every time that you break this rule.
I'm going to try to be good. Also, this is not a comprehensive list of monster collecting games. It's just ones that I've been goofing off with and wanted to talk about and kind of get some ideas out there for people like me that might be kind of, on the hunt for something to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
So first encounters, like most people born in the late 80s, Pokemon was my introduction to the idea of catching monsters. I was 10 when it came out, it's exactly the right age. In the mythos of Pokemon, kids start their Pokemon journey at 10. I don't know if you know this.
I see.
Ash Ketchum is 10 when he starts, presumably has remained 10 for, 20 years or whatever till they retired the character finally a year or two ago.
Isn't Bart Simpson still 10?
I think he might. Is Bart Simpson 10?
I thought he was 10 and Lisa was 8. Lisa's
in 2nd grade. Bart's in 4th grade. So yeah, that lines up. Yeah. Anyway, I followed Pokemon right up through the DS era. I did take a break between Game Boy Color and DS, so I didn't do the GBA generations. And then I've just kind of been on again, off again with it since then. What about you, Saturn? Where did you start with collecting monsters?
So I had played Pokemans when it came out, when the first one came out. Didn't super get into it, mainly because one, it just felt like weaker Dragon Quest.
Yeah, compared to where Dragon Quest was at the time, it's definitely more simplistic
to that.
By a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
And
like
then
if it came out in like 1991, I think it'd be a different story. But
definitely.
98, that's late for as low tech as it is.
Yeah, and so I was not like super sold on the gameplay, and then when it came to the collecting. The game made it very clear you were supposed to collect them all, and I knew that I couldn't, and it was causing me great anxiety.
Why couldn't you?
Because, one, you would need both cartridges.
Oh. Oh, right. In my head, you don't buy one Pokemon game ever. That's like buying half a game.
Well, we did end up getting both of them pretty quickly because my mom wanted them both.
You could have done it.
I didn't have the time or the energy to collect them all, and that was just not. I couldn't do it.
It didn't say collect them all if you have the time and energy, Saturn. It was it was just.
It was very explicit. It said you got to do it.
You got to do it. You have no choice, really.
Exactly.
Realistically, yeah. I do want to spend a moment talking about kind of monster collecting criteria. Okay. And then you have a little bit in here about progenitors, which I do want to get to after that.
Okay.
But I want to kind of set the stage for like what do I want out of a monster collecting game? Mm-hmm. You know, whenever I want to scratch that itch that Pokemon scratched, what am I looking for? And there's a few things. And weirdly enough, one of these disqualifies a mainline Pokemon game. But this is what I'm looking for. I want, first of all, the monsters should be memorable. That's kind of a big one for me. Like, I want to care about the monsters. I want to find them interesting or memorable or in some way other than just like fodder that I'm cramming into, you know, like a big monster chamber to fuse them into a bigger monster. Like, they're not just stats. Like, I want to actually be like, oh, that's a cool monster. That's a neat design. That matters to me.
What if they're an anthropomorphized garbage?
Not a fan of Trubbish or Garbodor, if I'm being honest.
I forgot that Garbodor was a thing.
Garbodor is the dumbest Pokemon, but maybe my favorite name.
It's pretty great. The
game should also focus on combat and monster growth. This should be the primary focus of the game. Is fighting these monsters. You are raising these monsters and fighting these monsters. And I want that to be mostly what I'm doing. And kind of as an aside, I want it to be an RPG.
Okay. Yeah.
That's important to me. Pokemon is very much a JRPG at its heart since the beginning. And I really, whenever I'm playing, like I've played lots of games that have monster collecting, but it's not a JRPG, and so it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't scratch that same itch.
I know a lot of people who are big Pokemon fans who seem shocked when I tell them that Pokemon is a JRPG.
I don't know.
No, that's not the same. It's somehow different.
I can't think of any way in which it is not a JRPG. Exactly. And my final one, and this one does exclude the original generation of Pokemon, the Red and Blue, is combining or breeding or fusing or whatever monsters is a must for me. Now, this one I know is not a must for everyone. But I want to be able to take my monsters and smoosh them together and get a new monster or a baby monster or some kind of something. It's been something I've expected since second generation of Pokemon games, which is when breeding was introduced. And it's important to me. This is the one I will admit may not be important to everybody, but this one matters to me.
Fair.
So take us through kind of some of these progenitors here that you have of pre-Pokemon monster catching games.
Right. And so, first of all, I wanted to go to interviews with developers of Pokemon for this.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to know things that they explicitly mentioned as their inspiration, rather than just the things that we can all collectively look at and say, well, that clearly led to this. Mm-hmm. And it turned out it was the same thing. So, Dragon Quest, first of all, specifically 3 and 5, Satoshi Tajiri, who's one of the creators of Pokemon, he had mentioned specifically the low drop rate of the item called the Madcap in Dragon Quest 3. Mm-hmm. And he said that he spent weeks trying to get that thing to drop in Dragon Quest 3 when he played. Actually, he said Dragon Quest 2, but the item isn't in Dragon Quest 2. In Dragon Quest 3, he was incorrect. Anyway, he had mentioned that he had spent weeks trying to get the item to drop, and once it did drop, he had always wished that he could trade his rare drops with his friends who got their own rare drops, so that if he had gotten 2 of some rare item and somebody else got 2 of that item, they could just trade, and that way they'd both have it, and he'd always wanted that, and so that was what inspired the trading of monsters in Pokemon. But also, while he didn't explicitly say it, you were able to recruit monsters into your party in Dragon Quest V.
It was a thing.
It was a thing several years before Pokemon. So clearly he is familiar with the Dragon Quest franchise. I have a feeling he knew that was there.
I kind of wonder if because Dragon Quest was such a big franchise, he kind of shied away. Because, I mean,
right.
The first Pokemon game looks and feels pretty Dragon Quest.
Oh, yeah.
And especially in just kind of the and we talked about it on our Fire Red Leaf Green episode, where like just the actual moment to moment of like you show up in a city, there's some things to do here, there's a couple of problems, and then you travel to the next city and they have their own set of problems. Like it's very much just Dragon Quest.
There were so many games that were basically just Dragon Quest clones at that time, so it's hard to say that it really would have caused any problem between them and NX. But aside from Dragon Quest, also the Saga series, he did mention that specifically as inspiration. He just said that it was an inspiration because it was a handheld RPG on the Game Boy, and it worked, and people liked it, and therefore it proved that you could make a handheld RPG on the Game Boy.
Well, also it has the, I don't remember if the first one had it or not. I think it did. Where like your party members change, like they evolve as you do stuff. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that started in the first one. And I have to think that was also an inspiration for how Pokemon evolve.
Yeah, it would be kind of silly.
He didn't explicitly say it, but could be the same reason he didn't explicitly say the last one.
Right.
But it does. I
also
feel
wonder if
like
because of Nintendo's close partnership, maybe Nintendo was like, "Hey, don't go out there and be like this is like all these other games."
Right.
That seems like
something. At that point, Nintendo's partnership with Square was not great.
Yeah. No, I mean them partnering with Game Freak.
Oh yeah, that's fair. So yeah. But yeah, so I do think that the evolution very likely was at least somewhat inspired by the evolution of Monsters and Saga.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, they never mentioned Megami Tensei as an inspiration.
I do.
But I have to say it's an inspiration. It feels like it because it had monster collecting over a decade before Pokemon.
Yeah. I'd put it in my notes later on, but I wasn't sure when, because I've only played like 4 and 5 and a touch of 3, so I didn't know where the monster collecting started with
in 1987. That's when it started.
And so that, I mean, for that to not be an influence would be a little silly.
Yeah, it feels like they must have, if not played, at least heard of the Mega 10 games and been inspired by that. Granted, it's a different kind of recruitment because you have to do the whole negotiation thing.
Right.
But it still feels very the line between Mega 10 and Pokemon feels like a straight line.
Yeah, for sure. So that kind of dovetails us into Pokemon itself. So this is just me cataloging. I wrote cataloging the best Pokemon games, but everyone's going to have a different opinion on this. Sure. These are the ones that I personally like, and also the ones I see recommended a lot, kind of ones that the community seems to really be like, hey, these are the good ones.
Right.
And for me, it starts with... Yes, Pokemon Snap. This is only mainline Pokemon games.
Okay.
That's not true. It's mostly mainline Pokemon games. First of all, for people that don't know, Pokemon traditionally would have compilation games. So after the 2 games came out, Red and Blue, Gold and Silver, Sapphire and Ruby, they would have a third game that sort of like updates the content in the games to not have everything from all of them necessarily, but I mean, yeah, it does. It has everything, and they add new stuff. So usually the idea was like, if you can skip the first 2,
but it usually doesn't have all the monsters. You still have to trade with one of the others to get them all, right?
I believe so. I
know that's how Yellow was, at least.
I think so. Yeah, Yellow was the compilation for the first generation Pokemon games.
And it had some of Red and some of Blue, but not all of either.
And for my money, Pokemon Crystal is the one to go to. If you're looking, if you're like me and you're like, I really want to go kind of as old as I can on Pokemon before it gets like really hard to play, because Red, Blue, and Yellow are they're kind of tough to play. It's a lot of...
They're a little simplistic, but they don't offend me in any way. They're just kind of
simple.
dull.
It's a lot of menu flipping. They're slow. A lot of the stuff is just kind of doesn't work right or is broken. There's some weird stuff with the first generation. It doesn't have the breeding mechanics. It does just a lot of things that weren't in place yet. That
was before Pokemon could fuck, so they couldn't breed yet.
Yeah, nobody had ever seen Pokemon fuck each other yet.
Right.
And then in the second game, someone saw 2 Bulbasaurs fucking, and they were like, "Oh my god!"
Let me tell you, between the first game and the second game, the internet made sure everyone saw Pokemon fucking.
Gross.
I remember shortly after the cartoon started, there was an episode of the Late Show with David Letterman that I was watching, because I used to watch Letterman all the time.
Yeah.
And his recurring joke that day was about somebody selling Pokemon porn, and he would do this dumb voice. He'd be like, "Hey, you got any of that them there Pokemon porn?" And he ended up doing that joke for like 2 weeks. Whenever one of his jokes would bomb, he'd just be like, "Yeah, you got any of that Pokemon porn?"
That's insane,
right? And that was before Gold and Silver came out.
Maybe
so,
he inspired them.
I just gotta say,
should fuck.
the porn was there.
So while portions of it feel a bit dated, it's the oldest Pokemon game I would personally recommend to anyone who doesn't already have existing nostalgia for the very first games. Also, Pokemon Emerald is the third game in the third generation, so it is Alpha and Sapphire put together. And while I don't have much time in that one, it is a very celebrated title in the realm of the compilation games. As far as the next category, which is remakes, I know we had a whole episode on it, but I do recommend Fire Red, Leaf Green if you really want to see like where did the series start and like play the first adventure. These are pretty straight remakes of the first Pokemon games. There's no, they added fucking in it.
Still no fucking.
I believe they did. See, now I feel like an ass because I don't know the answer to these Pokemon questions. I'm pretty sure they added breeding.
I don't remember experiencing breeding when I played it recently.
I did. I might have just Googled Pokemon breeding.
I might have just ignored that
was a bad. This was a poor idea. I wish that's what I got.
You just
instead.
Get a picture of David Letterman.
It does appear that they added breeding. Yeah. Yeah. Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver are remakes of the Gen 2 Pokemon games. And this is a frustrating thing in Pokemon is when they release remakes of a couple games, it's never the third compilation game. They want to sell you 2 games again. Because, theoretically, wouldn't it make sense to, instead of Gold and Silver getting remade, let's just remake Crystal. And you just buy Crystal. No. They want you to buy them both.
Right.
But you can still trade with other Crystal titles.
Well, you still got to trade with something. No. Because
so they are remakes of the Gen 2 Pokemon games in the DS kind of 3D style that the Gen 4 games use. They're very, very well regarded in the franchise. They're solid remakes of already very solid games. These are another ones that are very highly recommended in the community that I don't have a lot of time in, but it is very much a constant recommendation from Pokemon fans. And then I've got a couple more here. So outside of the realm of remakes, these are just like what I consider to be the best just straight Pokemon games that were original Pokemon games. Black and White 2, I don't see them mentioned nearly as much, but Black and White 1 and 2, so there are 4 of them because it got a direct sequel. It's the only time that's happened in Pokemon history where they just slapped a 2 on it. There's some of my favorite entries in the franchise just because they have some darker storylines that deal with ideas like forcing Pokemon to battle and whether or not they do or don't have free will and what is the nature of our relationship with these creatures that we make fight and fuck, It's still very much a children's game. It's not going to get too esoteric, they're not like, quoting philosophers and getting weird with it. But it's on the darker side, right? And then my final recommendation is for anyone that's like, hey, I don't want to go find all this old shit. I got a Switch. What can I play on my Switch? Fire Red, Leaf Green are available on Switch. But also the best Switch Pokemon game that I have played so far is Pokemon Legends Arceus, which I talked about recently on the show. And it is the only Switch exclusive Pokemon game that I would even really recommend bothering with. And that's kind of... No. I mean, I would say the Let's Go games are fun if you've got like a small child. Like if a 7 or 8-year-old wants to play a Pokemon game, then that's the way to go. Because they're very much like, we remade the first game for small kids. But I did want to throw it out there just because some people are like, just what's the best one that I can get right now off a shelf at a regular store? I don't want to go find a DS or do emulators or any of this shit. The other Pokemon games on Switch, I have been so frustrated with that I wouldn't even bother with them. Just Arceus is the good one on Switch. And that's kind of what brought me to this monster collecting journey. I played Arceus and I was like, God damn, I forgot what it's like to just play because I just finished Scarlet. And I was like, I forgot what it's like to just play a really good monster collecting game.
Yeah.
And that made me want to go play more monster collecting games. We get into competitors to Pokemon. And just as a note, I've played very, very few ROM hacks of the roughly 10 billion Pokemon ROM hacks that exist. These are just kind of the broad categories that I'm aware of, and one that I really like. The most popular type of ROM hack that I see is compilation hacks. They're ROM hacks that take the two-game nature and combine them all into a single game where you truly can catch them all.
That's nice.
There's a lot of these. One that I played is Pokemon Fire Red 386, is specifically targeted at solo players wanting a version of the game with literally all content possible accessible.
Does it play on a 386?
No, I believe there's 386 Pokemon because they added some of the later Pokemon in the remakes. I wish it played on a 386. But most of these will also do things like take away instances where like you only have one chance to get something. They'll make it so that you can return. And they just kind of make it so that you can really do all of it solo by yourself.
That's nice.
Which is really cool. And so for people like Saturn, who like it's upsetting that you can't get all the shit.
Yes.
These are what I would recommend, for someone like you.
And that does feel much nicer.
In retrospect, I should have recommended it when we were playing Fire Red and Leaf Green. I don't know why I didn't.
Correct. I don't.
One specific, in addition to being your starter from any Pokemon and start in any city, and it also turns it into an open world adventure. So you just there's you don't have to follow a set path or a story. You just get to run around and catch Pokemon and battle them and do whatever you want. And for it's fun for people that don't have a lot of patience for the rather, child-friendly stories of Pokemon games, or maybe people like me who have played Crystal a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to sit through the fucking story. I've done the story. I just feel like fighting and catching Pokemon.
Yeah.
In my head, I keep thinking if they made a M-rated Pokemon game, it'd be called Pokemon : or there'd be two of them. One would be called Pokemon Fuck, and one would be called Pokemon Fight.
Oh, I thought when you were saying Pokemon : that would be the name of one of them.
No. You got Pokemon fucking Fight. I don't know what the third game would be.
Pokemon : and Pokemon Anus.
God damn it. So that's Pokemon.
Yeah.
That's where I stand on Pokemon. Those are my broad recommendations on Pokemon. I want to talk about contemporary at the time competitors.
It would be Fuck, Fight, and Flee, wouldn't it?
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Fuck, Fight, Flee.
Yeah, there you go.
Pokemon Flee.
Yeah. It's one where you just run from everything.
Pokemon Fighter Flight. All right, we have to talk about Digimon games because there are a lot of these.
Yeah, we're.
First up, the Digimon World games kind of came out of the gate on PlayStation 1 and were they were a thing. They were I feel relatively popular. The World Series takes a different approach to monster combat. So instead of directly controlling your monster, you just kind of give it general instructions and watch it fight to the best of its ability. So for people that maybe they're not into the whole menu-based RPG thing, but you still want to raise a monster and fight it and increase its stats and things, you still sort of get that experience without having to do the whole menu-based combat thing. And it's a little more passive in that regard. The idea is that it's much like the virtual pets that the game is based on, where you would just click them together and be like, fight, and you don't do anything. They just fight each other and you watch them clobber one another.
Yeah.
The games do also
unlike the adult rated Digimon.
right.
Where you connect them together and they just fuck.
Digimon fuck. The game also features caring for the monsters. You train them at the gym, they go to the bathroom, you have to feed them. So if that's a thing that you want to be doing, the Digimon World franchise is that was always kind of their focus of hey, what if Pokemon was a little more virtual pet-like? A little bit more Nintendogs and a little bit less Dragon Quest.
I just want less pooping in all of my games, to be honest.
No, they do poop. They do poop.
Yeah, I want less of that, is what I'm saying.
No, it's an increase. Unfortunately, I believe it's also brown poop instead of the canonical pink poop that Digimon traditionally have. So,
how dare they?
Upsetting all around.
Yeah.
We have to mention Monster Rancher.
Mm-hmm.
Monster Rancher's
the neatest concept.
Monster Rancher's claim to fame was that you could generate monsters from CDs you just had lying around.
Until the PS2, then you could also use DVDs.
You could use DVDs too. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, was that Monster Rancher 3?
I think it was 3 and 4
3
on
and
PS2,
4?
if I remember right.
Which is a cool idea.
Yeah.
The monsters themselves are, I feel like they're relatively memorable. I remember Suezo. I remember his name even. And I remember the one that was a dinosaur, and that's it. They're all gone now.
I don't know any of them. There was one guy who I worked with who was a huge Monster Rancher fan. This was when I was working at Electronics Boutique, and he had them all, and he also had ordered some like out of print Whitney Houston single on eBay because it generated like the best monster.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, is the music any good? And he's like, I've never listened to it. I just made a monster and put it back on the shelf.
No. Yeah.
And then I was asking him what DVD had the best monster, and he was like, it's this import Italian movie. I haven't been able to buy it yet. I'm like, that's the most insane thing I've ever heard. And I love it.
So we do need to talk about Monster Rancher's gameplay.
Oh, there's games?
There is gameplay.
I thought you just made things out of discs.
No, that's the fun part. Because the games themselves, at least the first couple, didn't feature much in the way of an actual game. Most of your time is just kind of training your monsters, and then you enter tournaments with them.
Mm-hmm.
There's really sort of no world or JRPG to it.
Yeah.
It's just sort of you train them and you fight them, and that's it. So for someone that's like, I don't want to be running around, I just want to do monsters and train them and fight them, and that's it, then, that's just an option. But it definitely is missing that category. And this is a thing you see in a lot of contemporary Pokemon competitors, is that they would take the formula and just do it kind of different, or cut a section of it out, or presumably to catch people who are like, yeah, I like Pokemon, but I don't like having to walk around all these towns and talk to all these people and shit. Or people that are like, yeah, I like Pokemon, but I want to clean up their poop.
Yeah.
So you can make everybody happy. I did leave a nice section here for you to talk about Dragon Quest Monsters, because that was probably, at the time anyway, sort of the most immediate and most similar.
Yeah, the most one-to-one.
Yeah, most one-to-one contemporary game with Pokemon when it came out in the 90s. So I was going to, let you talk about those for a little bit.
Well, real quick before that, I wanted to talk about kind of a Pokemon adjacent game, if I can.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So this was a PS2 game called Magic Pendule that I think I've talked about before because I love it. It's my favorite. It's not my favorite, but it's one of my favorites on PS2 anyway.
Yeah, Magic Pendule, Quest for Color.
Yeah, so it's kind of a super, super, super simple JRPG with a combat that's not far beyond rock, paper, scissors, but I mean, so is Pokemon. It just has like 11 other options in addition to the rock and the paper and the scissors.
Right.
But it's very similar. However, instead of collecting pre-made monsters, you draw them yourself, so you can just have all penises.
I remember you telling me about this. Yeah.
Yeah. And the art for it is done by Studio Ghibli in cooperation with Gainax. Which, that feels like two opposites clashing. But anyway.
Extremely bonkers.
I did want to mention it just because of how goofy it is. And it's something I always think about when I think about those older monster battling games. Even though it doesn't 100% fit in, it feels kind of like riding parallel to it because you're making your own monsters instead of collecting them.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, tangent aside. Dragon Quest Monsters.
Dragon Quest.
So the first one came out 2.5 years after the original Pokemon games, but I believe before Gen 2 Pokemon, if I remember right, or near the same time.
I'm trying to think. I want to say Gen 2 Pokemon was 99. I think it was the next year.
Yeah, so it would have been the next year. So so this was late 98 is when Dragon Quest Monsters 1 came out. And it only had one cart instead of the multiple carts like Pokemon had. So you could theoretically catch them all, but unlike Pokemon, it never told you to.
Yeah. It didn't command that you do so.
Right. It lets you collect however many you want, the good ones.
Yeah. All the slimes.
You could get all the slimes. You get a bunch of slimes that weren't in regular Dragon Quest games. They introduced so many slimes in Dragon Quest Monsters 1.
Fun.
They introduced like giant jewel-shaped slimes and shit. It's great. Anyway, so it also introduced a breeding mechanic before Pokemon did. So canonically, Dragon Quest Monsters fucked before Pokemon.
Well, so Pokemon Gold and Silver came out in 99, which is when the fucking came out.
Yes. And this was September 98.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah, because the original Pokemon was 96? 96 in Japan?
Yeah.
Red and green? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they did fuck before Pokemon.
Yeah, they were fucking before Pokemon.
Interesting.
Canonically. However, you would get some weird shit from breeding in Dragon Quest Monsters. Like, you would take a slime and a Draki and you'd get a dragon slime. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But then you would take, like, a slime and a golem and get a treasure chest. Like, that makes less sense.
Well, I guess that's the downside to working with already existing monsters is you don't really get to, have free reign to make it all fit together right. So there's going to be some weirdness, I guess.
Yeah. And again, they did introduce some new monsters, mostly slime variants, but everything else was mostly just taken from the first 6 Dragon Quest games because that was what was available at the time.
Yeah.
And so you did you get some weird mixes with the breeding. While Pokemon had that more linear story that plays out like a regular traditional Dragon Quest style JRPG, Dragon Quest Monsters had randomized dungeons.
Yeah.
So it had some like real light roguelite elements to it, as opposed to the more traditional JRPG of Pokemon. Then Dragon Quest Monsters 2 borrowed even more heavily from Pokemon by introducing a whole second game that you had to trade between to get everything.
Kobe and who's the other lady?
Yeah, Kobe and Tara.
Kobe and Tara, yeah.
Yeah, which were the two, I think it was supposed to be the two children of the protagonist of Dragon Quest V, if I remember right. I didn't get into Dragon Quest Monsters 2 as much as the first one, but it's all right. There was also a Dragon Quest Monsters on GBA that never came out over here in the West. You can play a fan translation of it now. And then the big ones, the ones that seems to be considered the best in the series are the DS games, which is Dragon Quest Monsters Joker, which is a separate sub-series. And it does still focus on the monster collecting, but it feels like it fleshes out as far as story and mechanics and everything a little more. It distinguishes itself from Dragon Quest a little bit.
Okay.
And it also did the full 3D camera before Pokemon did. Pokemon was still overhead at the time, and Dragon Quest Monsters Joker went full 3D camera.
Pokemon's first full 3D game was on Switch.
Yeah, and this was on DS. Yeah. So it was a few years earlier. And then also there was the remake of Dragon Quest Monsters 1 on 3DS that did not leave Japan.
But there is a fan translation.
There was a fan translation.
I played a bit of it. I've tried to start Dragon Quest Monsters several times, and I just can't. I know it's one of those things where if I can get through the first hour or two, I'll have a lot of fun with it, but I'm just so
Joker
bored.
is the best one. That's the one you should be trying if you're going to try one of them.
Yeah, I need to check those out.
Yeah.
We do need to mention Megaten, Shin Megami Tensei. They prominently feature monster capturing. The difference is, like you said, that you have discussions with the monsters.
Right. Yeah, you negotiate it.
So you don't beat them into submission. You just talk to them, and they'll ask you.
Often you have to beat them first, and then
yeah, you do have to beat them first, and then afterward they're like, "Hey," and it's always weird questions. It's like, "Do you value money or friendship?" And you're like, "I don't fucking know what a succubus demon lady wants me to say to that." I've no, And while it's a cool idea, what I don't like about it is. There's no real way to know, like maybe there is, and maybe, because I've only played Megaten 4 and 5 very much. Yeah. So maybe there is a way to know like what the correct answer is or how to figure it out. But I'm always like, it feels almost random to me a lot of the time.
There's lots of guides online to tell you, but I've never figured out the internal logic on it. And I assume that there is got to be some way to know within the game, right?
There has to be, and the as much as I played of those two games, I never figured it out, but there'd be some that I'd remember. I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember this guy, likes whatever.
I know some Persona fans are going to tell us that we're insane.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Super
They're going to be like,
it
makes perfect sense, you dummies.
Right.
But that was always kind of a turnoff for me is I would miss out on monsters because I didn't know how to answer some esoteric question they had.
Right.
Instead of, like when you lose a Pokemon that you wanted to catch because you killed it on accident, like... That sucks, but you're like, that's on me. I should have played more reserved. There's that little bit of like, you feel like you have a little more control.
Right.
But it is worth mentioning. There's a bunch of Mega 10 games that all feature capturing monsters. There's the Strange Journey spin-off games. There's the 5 mainline Mega 10 games. There's a whole bunch of them.
Oh yeah.
And we would be remiss not to mention them. I had the intention.
Mm-hmm.
I bought the Magi Nation Game Boy Color game.
Mm-hmm.
And for people that don't know what Magi Nation is, Magi Nation Duel was a collectible card game that came out in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
And I was real into it. I was stoked on it. And I wanted to play that, but then everyone a couple years later kind of went to Yu-Gi-Oh!, so it got dropped. But there was a video game that went along with it and a TV show shortly run. I don't remember it. I had it pulled up. It ran for 52 episodes. So there was the Magi Nation video game on Game Boy Color that people were like, oh, it's very Pokemon-like because you're going around capturing these monsters. And I bought the game with the intention to play it for these episodes, but I ran out of time.
That was one of those games that also would not sell at my store. I
Yeah,
had that sitting on the shelf forever.
Yeah, I mean, what I hear is it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I've not. I really wanted to get to play it, and I didn't get around to it. I didn't have time, and it got good reviews. Like EGM gave it an 8 out of 10. So that's pretty good for like a late Game Boy Color game, And
it looks like the TV series aired 6 years after the game came out.
It's weird. It's also getting a revival. There was a Kickstarter recently. So
Why? What is going on here?
I don't know, man. Shit's weird. But I did want to throw it out there. I can't speak to it, but I have been told that Magi Nation, the video game, was not a card game. It was about collecting monsters and stuff. So worth throwing out there. We are going to cut it here. Next episode is going to...
But we have so much more to talk about, Justin.
I know. Next episode is going to be all of the modern competitors to Pokemon. These are all of the currently... Not all of them.
A two-parter.
These... I know. These... I got
We
Saturn
never actually explained this was going to be a two-parter.
Yeah, we didn't, did we? I got Saturn to agree to a two-parter on monster collecting games, and all I had to do was all the work and notes.
That's true. You can get me to do a lot of things if you do that.
So next episode, I'm going to be talking about a lot of the modern games, how they stack up, how they feel for people that are looking for monster collecting alternatives. But we just can't fit them in this episode, so we're gonna have to take a break here.
There's too many monsters.
As far as final thoughts,
and there's just constantly more of them because they won't stop fucking.
If you're looking for contemporary games, I would definitely say check out the Dragon Quest Monster games. I also really like the Digimon World games. They're definitely really different, but different in a way that I think is still interesting. Instead of just being like, hey, let's do Pokemon. Yeah. But also the conceit of this episode is I'm looking for games that just go, hey, let's do Pokemon. Right. And it seems for as far as we're aware of, Dragon Quest Monsters seems to be the closest one-to-one Pokemon-like of the era.
Yeah, they seem to be the least afraid of really copying the homework down to the letter.
I kind of wonder if they're like, you copied our homework, so fuck you,
Yeah.
So I guess as far as final thoughts, that would be kind of my recommendation. Is like looking at Dragon Quest Monsters if you really want something of the era, because the other contemporary monster collecting franchises mostly wanted to differentiate themselves somehow.
Also, the original GBC version of Dragon Quest Monsters 1 has just a laughably bad translation.
Oh, boy.
That's pretty fun sometimes.
I can't remember if you'd played the 3DS fan translation. Would you?
I played some.
Would you recommend that version based on what you played, or is it kind of?
I kind of bounced off it. It was fine, but it didn't really catch my attention.
Didn't do enough.
And granted, part of it was just that it's on a handheld, and I don't super get into that. So
yeah,
that could have been it.
Yeah. Well, you know what will catch your attention?
What's that, Justin?
Is our Patreon.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Patreon.com/Retro Warriors. You can get Talking Wizards. We just did our episode 200 live stream where we had.
How'd it go?
It was great. We had wizard beards on.
Yeah. Did your internet hold up the whole time?
It did.
Wow.
We did Google Meet. Lets you do like those dumb overlays. You can make your face look like a cat or whatever. And they had wizard ones, so we did the whole thing in wizard garb.
Perfect.
And so that was a fun time.
How many wizards did you talk about?
Really just each other.
Okay.
and then we did like 30 minutes after the show of us just clicking through the different dumb faces and doing characters.
Nice.
And then we ended the live stream, and it was mostly me and Andrew sitting there, and we would load up one of the animal characters and like open our mouth real wide and stick our tongue out and see how weird it looked.
Nice.
You can also get uncut versions of this show, early access to it. You can get our show Read Along, where we read old game magazines.
Yep.
And there's lots of other stuff there. Patreon.com/Retro Warriors.
There is. It's a lot of fun.
And you can be cool like these people who we're about to thank for giving us money.
Yay.
Starting with Eat Many Bananas. Bananas are healthy.
That's good advice. And Dave Nelson.
Danny Spiteri.
Ramun.
Spooky Dookie.
Matt Kovacs.
Oneonoi.
Domingo Carlo Martinez.
Shane's World. It's the sequel to Wayne's World.
It is. And Dean Schmidt.
All gave us money. We thank them very much for their money.
Yes, we do.
Appreciate the support.
A very kind support for us.
Patreon. Anyway, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. And as always, let us cling together.